And started learning, listening to Katha of Japji Sahib, Gani Thakur Singh. He just keep mentioning these like Dragon. I was like, yaar kiya hai nahi? Yeah, but this now video, the Dragon one, explains all of that.
Okay. That's awesome.
Puts everything into, just makes so much sense. But to be honest, I think that the understanding I've got of it now, I didn't really have it anyway. चौथे पद में सहज है गुरमुख पल्ले पाए. Guru Amar Das Ji talks a lot about चौथा पद and Dragon and all that. Guru Amar Das Ji. When you like get to know Gurbani, you'll see that like you start seeing kind of like the
favorite topics.
Yeah. It's hard to use the right word because like the Guru is like a beyond personality, like, but they've still got like a certain something about them that is unique to them, and you start to kind of find that pattern when you read Gurbani. Like Guru Ram Das Ji makes a mention of Gursikhs a lot, so you get a feel that they must have really had a lot of like Gurpai love type thing in it. They must have had that experience a lot. And then Guru Amar Das Ji just keeps, they just go on about like the need and the importance of having a guru in it, how you can't do it without that. And I suppose because Guru Amar Das Ji like came to Guru Sahib Ji at a much later age, and then they went to like Ganga Ishnan so many times, and then they did like Sangat of Sadhus, so they must have been quite like way more like kind of exposed and familiar with that language of like Dragon and Chautha Bad. It's all in the Pratan, like the Sanatan Mat Granths in it. None of these things are new. Like Dragon have been mentioned like from day one from the Veds, and but it's the first time I've actually gone into detail of the 10 gun.
Would you say you gave it a good rounded explanation in 20 minutes?
Or do you, you'll be a better judge of that, innit?
I'd say the main gist of it is
It's there, innit?
yeah. But I think to fully grasp it, what's lacking in there is like the real life examples. To know when it's actually coming to play in your life rather than each moment.
Yeah. Okay, so as like from your current understanding, like what comes to mind when you hear Tamogun? Yeah, so like what's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear Tamogun?
Selfishness.
Okay, selfishness from Jet.
I think everything to make sure you focus on this.
Okay, who did? I did.
Yeah, you got Damo is whatever is yours, I want as well.
Yeah.
Whatever is mine is definitely mine too.
Yeah. I mentioned that in the video. Yeah. I mentioned that in this video as well. Yeah. So that's one of
So
the.
you're on that one with the rest of it, come on to the
So I think the understanding I didn't have previously, which I've kind of come to understand, is that Tamogun only brings that in our life. So that isn't the actual nature of Tamogun, like all these lower attributes. It's when Tamogun becomes there's an imbalance of Tamogun inside of us. So when it becomes predominant.
So
you
what
know.
you're saying is like it's not mutually exclusive. What I mean by that is like you can't. It's not about living in one state. It's a proportion of it's like pie chart. It's like you're 70% double. You're 20% natural. 10%.
That's when there's an imbalance.
Yeah.
That's when you'll see
Yeah.
Tamo creating that within you. Then those negative qualities. That makes sense, right? So for us to be living on a survival kind of level, to living optimum, to our optimum kind of level of a human being on a survival level, not talking about going beyond like man and tan, and that's where 99.99% of us are anyway. So it's important to understand that, innit? So ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਵੇਲਾ ਆ ਜਿਹਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਜੋਤ ਪਛਾਣ ਲਈ and all that, innit? ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਪਰੇ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਆ ਨੇ. So we're all there, we're all connected to our mind and body fully, innit? So the way they're supposed to, if we're going to live a really well-balanced life, then they've all got to be balanced equally. Not, yes. for us to live fully optimum. Yeah. And one of the examples that I used in the video was like, so if you've got a three-wheeler, you can't have one wheel that is bigger than the other one, where it lifts the car off and you'll just become all over the shop and you topple over. They all have to be on that ground level, equally at the same size for that vehicle to work the way it needs to work. And Rajo, Tamo and Sato. Yeah.
Is there any good qualities to Tamogun?
Yes.
Oh, right, okay. Because I've always thought Tamogun is like the lowest state of...
So this is why I think this video is going to help.
Oh, take it.
So
Because I was always brought up with that kind of notion.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
live in Tamo. That's like...
So that's like saying, you know, that, you know, the proton, the atom, and the atom's made up of...
Protons, neutrons, electrons.
Yeah, that's like saying that one of them, like the neutron or electron, one of them saying that's really bad. That's like saying that to say that Tamo is just that. That's like that's exactly saying that out of the thingy, the atom, the negative
Like
charge.
the electron is...
bad.
Causes acid.
What bad, yeah. So it's not like that.
Okay.
So you're saying what is the positive? So if we're completely conscious and balanced, so okay, if we're imbalanced and Tamo becomes predominant, that very energy can become anger. If we consciously use Tamo for our need, then that becomes Biras. Okay? We can use it righteously. But without that energy, you can't have Miri. Miri can't exist. So actually without it, you can't live the life that our Guru Sahibs have brought for us. Yeah. So what a lot of people don't talk about is, what I mentioned in the video is, how can Satogun, how do you know that there's an imbalance and Satogun has become more predominant? Because remember, like, if any of them are like not running like that, then we're not going to be able to live a balanced life. And that's what really no one talks about.
Was that Sajavasta or was that Sajavasta's behind?
Sajavasta is चौथा पद.
Okay, ठीक है.
चौथे पद में सहज है. गुरमुख पल्ले पाए. Yeah. The Tragun, you can be in Satogun and still be asleep to Maya. Tehi guni sansar prama sutta suttya rahan vihani. Tehi guni sansar, right? In the three gun, the world, sutta is asleep. And how can you be asleep in Satogun though?
Oh, is that when like... Oh, I think you gave me an example once. Like, it probably sounds a bit crude, but if like a relative gets knocked over in the road and you're like, oh, chala koi nahi, theek hai. Like, you don't do anything about it.
Yeah, so
I think something like that.
very similar to
Maybe.
that, you can become very passive.
Yeah, that's it, sorry.
So even though you're very giving, yeah, but when it comes to, but say you can't use the energy of Tamo in you, you can't even stand up, you can't protect yourself, you can't do any of that. You can't bring in your beer, Ras. There's none of that, innit? You still got the attributes of being giving, but then you haven't got the balance. You could lose, if you haven't got Rajo, you might completely lose the drive to even look after your own body. You might not want to work anymore at all. You'll struggle to even feed yourself. All of that comes from Rajogun. Brushing your teeth, feeding yourself, everything is from Rajogun. Yeah, the drive of life comes from that. That's Brahma. That's the creative Shakti. Creative Shakti is basically the desire that helps us to even get out of bed. So without, say if Rajo, you didn't have Rajo, like, and you're just giving, like, you wouldn't be able to actually do the action to give because you would have no drive to do it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's so crazy, like, that Sansar is perfectly balanced in that. That's how Akal Purkh has made it. It's like, it's mind-blowing, it's like boggling and phenomenal. Like, it makes you connect to Akal Purkh when you start seeing that in Kamal, like the perfection. Then you can say, you understand then why Akal Purkh is called Puran, and it like complete, perfect, ਜੋ ਕੁਝ ਪਾਇਆ ਸੋ ਏਕਾ ਵਾਰ ਉਹਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਬਣਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਿਆ ਉਹਨੇ ਪਾਤਾ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਕੁਛ when you've got like a Samrat Guru behind you, the Guru can still take you from a certain state and then lift you out completely and still liberate you in it. That's why you're in trouble. Jeko Gurte Vemukh Hove bin Sadguru Mukt na Pave. Basically, that's why Guru Amar Das Ji, that's Guru Amar Das Ji's bani anyway. Say you're in trouble in it without a Guru. Because ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਪਾਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਰ ਪਏ ਫੇਰ ਵੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਫੇਰ ਵੀ ਮੁਕਤ ਕਰਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਨੇ so that's the whole thing of like completely giving yourself to a guru and that's why like Guru Amar Das Ji said you can't do it ਗੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਬਗੈਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ see a lot of people think like calm is like tamogun the initial calm is linked to rajogun from the drive of life just from procreation and your natural kind of hormones telling you you when you initially say you look at somebody you're thinking that's a mate as in like somebody to mate with you don't know that consciously but that's when you initially that initial attraction is actually that comes from rajogun but that moment that you start obsessing over that and you start thinking I could get this pleasure, that out of it, and then then you're falling into tamu. You can understand this whole sansar's kid in these three gun, and then you can start identifying it within yourself. But now when you read Gurbani and listen to Katha, and then three gun comes up, then it'll make so much sense. Yesterday was a busy day. I did the Conquering the Mind and the Japji Sahib, so I was like a bit
How'd it go?
with the Conquering the Mind.
Yeah.
It was good, it was alright, you know.
Did you conquer it?
Huh?
Did you conquer it?
Conquer kiੱਥੇ ਹੋਇਆ ਹਲੇ
How many sessions you had now? You still haven't conquered your mind yet?
ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਜਨਮਾਂ ਜਾਣਾ ਦੀ ਖੇਡ ਹੈ ਪੁੱਤ
How's Jamsa going alright?
Japji Sahib, you know what? That thing is just something else, man. Gurcharan will tell you.
Trying to do this for ages, you know.
How is it?
There's something special in them sessions.
There's something else in it.
Yeah.
You've been trying to do this for ages, you know. Been doing this for Jan.
What the?
Japji Sahib.
You know what we do with Japji Sahib?
Very early days we met though. You've been wanting to do Japji.
You know,
I think Jagraj we did the Kathan at first, so I was like, leave it for a few years.
I've needed to get it out, man, for so long. I'm just so like grateful that I'm getting to. But you know, like when you discuss it in the Sunday sessions, it's just magic, man. Because the base was made through the Mool Mantar,
Yeah.
it's so much easier now for Sangha to understand things. We're on fourth Pauri now.
Oh wow, okay.
So yesterday we didn't complete it, but we did Sacha Sahib Sach Nai, Bhakhya Bhava Par, Akh hai Mang hai Deh Deh Dat Kare Datar, Fer ke Agge Rakhiye Jit Dasai Darbar, Muh hao ke Bolan Boliye Jit Sun Tare Pyar. So we did those bhaktiyan yesterday. Just the Jit Sun Tare Pyar was crazy, innit? Like,
The good thing about these sessions is it's like you can have your normal kathas, but this is way more like conversational.
yeah.
And like the way Japji Sahib should speak to you, these sessions achieve that. That's what's good
And
about
it's
them.
global Sangat that join. So just that Pankti, like because of the way a lot of English has been translated and that's kind of all people have been getting, and when they get to break out of that, for them that moment is like, wow. So like how would you guys translate just that to the Sacha Sahib Sach Nai? Fiji. That literally just literal.
Sacha, true. Sahib, master. Sacha, Nai.
Sach Nai.
Saj, Nai. Sacha, Sahib, Saj, Nai. Saj is again the truth. Nai, the name. So the master is true and the name of Vaiguru is also true. Is that right?
That's what you'll see in the translation, in the English translation.
Yeah.
If you go deeper, it's a continuation. Actually, you find that Japji Sahib is talking all about Hukam from the second Pauri, which introduces like in detail Hukam. Then that continues to then the third Pauri is about reflecting on where are you singing? It's not about Sama singing, it's about like making you aware of where's your singing at. What that means, like your very being, what avastha has it reached, and how much have you captured in your awareness of that one's playing hukam. That's what the third body is actually about. And then it continues though. It's saying like the hukam that is folding out from Sacha Sahib is based on the absolute truth, and it's saying then Sach Nai means his Nya is Sacha. Do you know what Nya means?
Niyam, law.
Law, yeah, but Nya like is justice.
Just.
And it was like yaar ਉਹਨੂੰ ਨਿਆਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਿਆ and ਉਹਨੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਸਿਰ 'ਚ ਡੰਡਾ ਮਾਰਿਆ ਪਰ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਨਿਆਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਿਆ. He didn't get any justice, but he's saying that the justice that is unfolding, like the nya, the law that is unfolding, however you want to word it, is actually complete truth. Meaning that when if you go to a judge and you've got to be judged, he could still miss something. So whatever his nya is towards you may not still be the truth, because he could have missed something. But Waheguru doesn't miss a trick. So it's Saj, Nai, Oda Nya Satchaya. It's cool, isn't it? But then, even if Nya and Naam actually go hand in hand, because his name is behind the Nya.
Eko naam hukam hai.
Yeah. Nanak Sadguru diya bujai jiyu. Very soon I will need my tea.
Should we do next services?
As long as it's the one where because there's one that comes at Costa and one that comes at Starbucks.
Okay.
It's gonna be Starbucks.
Alright.
Because Starbucks does the nut blend milk.
Oh, he sacha.
ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਝੂਠੀ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਕੋਸਟਾ ਵਾਲੇ ਉਹ ਝੂਠੀ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਕੋਸਟਾ ਵਾਲੇ.
What is Starbucks do, sorry?
So they do nut blend milk.
Nut blend.
Yeah, it's really good. ਆਪਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਦੁੱਧ ਪੀਣੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਨੇ.
Oh, right. How long have you been vegan?
ਮੈਂ vegan ਹੈਗਾ.
Achha.
Vegan is like when you believe in something in it. And like,
When did you start having dairy?
huh? When did I stop dairy?
Kidney dairy ho gayi.
Initially about a year and a half ago, but I've not been like the best at it. So I do fall off the wagon here and there, innit? But I've never gone back to drinking dod outright and having like dod in my tea. So when I say I fall off the wagon, like I'll have an odd pizza with mozzarella, and even that it's at home made kind of. So like, yeah, because mozzarella's still a bit lighter and I can handle it a bit.
You know, if you missed out the dud bit there, you were like, you know, sometimes I fall off the wagon and I do drink, you know, sometimes. It's alright. That dud word is quite important.
You've got the control. You can do whatever you want,
Sure.
and you can make or destroy
You have
my
to have
life.
a balance in it.
You can make or destroy my career in Qatar with that video. No, like, because veganism is the whole thing about like how animal cruelty.
Don't you think there's a danger of it becoming too extreme? Where, like, even Gurkha now, so they don't. Some people like don't have deg because it's got, you know.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, man. But I think for me personally, I ain't gonna judge anyone else. For me personally, I just can't do that with deg. Like deg is just so pavitra in itself. Like when it's made the way it should be made, like, you know, Mulamantar when you're preparing, and then Japabani when you're actually cooking it, and the whole, as long as you don't use suji, use atta, you know, make it the way you're meant to make it, and ghee and not butter in it. So then, like, how can you kind of, people die for that kind of stuff in it?
I guess back in the day when our Gurusahibs were, you know, Sangha back in the day, there wasn't this, you know, cattle were looked after.
Yeah.
Now it's just like chuck them all into a pen. There's that mistreatment of animals.
So there is that element, like, of that side of it where I don't want to go back to it as well. Like, because I'm always thinking I'm going to reverse this allergy somehow, and like, but then I think, do I really want to go back to like fully having it in that way? And then the thing, I think what comes after that is, yeah, well, to be honest, we would be very careful the milk that we do buy anyway. So I'd always try and like read up and try and get the best organic, and where the cattle have been left to graze openly, would try and look into that anyway. So yeah, but it's not something like I promote and think and say like, yeah, like if you don't do this, you're bad, and because it's not the essence, right? But yeah, something I would do personally anyway. Even if I was like, would have dahi, I used to look out for you, like trying to get your valley, which is that little bit more cared for, the animals are. So I am a bit of a bloody vegan at heart, innit, I suppose, Jet. Guru Sahib says Gursikhan lehenda paal ke. It's like Guru Sahib, there would have been loads of Sikh that Udna came to Guru Sahib, innit, that had like issues in life and that, you know, just were looking out of their issues or whatever. You know, like you have koi aa janda hai, my arms, you know, whatever, like, oh, got this situation at home. You've got those that come and then they become Sikhs. But Guru Sahib, when they went out, listening to this, the way they've worded it, lehenda paal ke, that main paal ke leanda, like dhoond ke, innit? Like they would have gone out and looked for those particular ones, meaning that they saw that they've got a yearning in them. They saw that these are seeking something here. And when Guru Sahib got those together, they said, this is a Gurdwara. Sal means place, in it. And then Dharam is when you're actually searching for the true Dharam. Because like Dharam also means like sari srishti ek dharam de vich hai, you know what I mean by that? Jinna vi sansar banaya hai, wo ek dharam de vich hai. Yeah, and then like, but I think what always blows me away is I think like what we're losing a bit, which is still there in certain places, but is this where Guru Sahib would have actually done this. Guru Sahib doesn't lie, innit? Where they're talking about Pair Tova, innit? Like, that would have been like probably such a, not a common practice, but like a practice when you were just so in awe of Gursikhs, and without, it wouldn't have been a thing like, oh, the Pair Tova. It was a part of Dharam, do you get it? It was just part of what you did when you're on that path of spirituality. Yeah? You'd like get so happy, Gursikh aaya, inna de pair to ye. It would have just been a normal thing in that sense if you had that inside of you, innit? You know, that pair tova pakha ferda. And this is all, again, if you look at the Shabd itself, it's apne aap nu sambodh ke, this is, it's talking about themselves. So you would actually say that pair tova with the bindi saying main tote una de pair. You know what I mean, innit? Yeah. Like, it's not saying like that they did that. Yeah. It's talking about like first person, innit? Grammar, like, and so it just gives you the context, doesn't it? So you're saying pair tova pakha ferda, innit? Main pakha ferda ya una te Sikhan te, innit? Yeah. This never lagga pae jiyo. And it's true though, innit? That is the true kind of, that is the true dharamsal, innit? Jitte Sikh kathe ho ke asal vich like Rabb di gal kar sakan, innit? Because like, that's what Guru Arjan Dev Ji was all about. That what oh keda shabd aunda hai where they're saying that sun yaar hamare sajjan. I always refer back to it, but like, sun yaar hamare sajjan ek karon binantiya te samohan laal pyare hon firon kho jantiya. It's like, that's what Gursikh's conversation should be. It's like, main khojna pya Rabb nu yaar kithe, innit? Main ta like, I'm kind of here and this is where my struggles are, this is my, but as well as speaking about our struggles towards connecting to Rabb, we should also where you find those gawk, and it that there is asal gawk, and it not the when gawk going to vechiye to going to sehgo jaye. There's those gawk you get in it, those customers that you get that you sell you're going to cheap to, and it. But when you get the ones that are actually like true gawk of Rabb, and it. But when you share it with them, you should always. There's no harm in sharing your little glimpses of Rabb with them as well, because it's that you're in the right environment for it. When you're in that dharmsal, je ohu nahi gall karni te kehdi karni hai ne? Otthe ta karni Rabb di gall ne. And that must have been that whole Firon ko Jantiya. Is like imagine all these Khojantiyas coming together, and like one arth I was thinking about recently of like just Sikhi or a Sek. A Sek is that Khojanti, not necessarily a learner, but a Sikh jada khojda ya, jada kenda ya roj like andro oh hawal ja uthda, you know, like hawal uthna da matlab hunda ya, you know, like when you think back to something and for you it was some form of trauma, and then this thing your heart pulls and you start like almost want to cry. But we like that's what it means to be a Sek, where every so often this inside starts to cry and saying like main kaun hai, oh kithe hai Rabb, and it like kiddan nu milna hai, oh andro that pain should occur every so often, and that's like Sek. Who in their tarfada andro ne machi wang ke yaar main idda hi na chad jama ithon, because I was thinking about the word like bariya, like it's a variya sadi, and I used to think like okay, we say that so loosely, and it's our opportunity to meet God, and there's nothing in it, like we just say it, but like when we think bariya, bro, like that's no little thing in it, like we've gone through what for it to become our turn. Kai janam ane beकीट पतंगा, कई जन्म गज मीन करंगा, कई जन्म पंखी सर फोयो, कई जन्म हैवर बिख जोयो, मिल जगदीश मिलन की बरिया. It's your turn now, because only a human has that turn. And we've been through the mill, and now it's bariya, and those are the ones that were actually thought like that. That's what Guru Sahib was talking about. You're together. Gurdwara hone. So Gurdwara can become any place, because what is it? Guru Dware hoye Soji paye si. If now here, through the Guru's wisdom, we sit here and get Soji about how to get that little bit closer to having glimpses and experiences, because even Guru Sahib said, "Ek puri darshan dijiye, inna hi mil jave." For now, inna hi bahut hai. Chal jo pani sang pani pama na ek pura hi mil jave. But you know, through the Japji Sahib sessions, one thing like I experienced was that, you know, the puri darshan or experiencing oneness can be, like for me, it was, I was still looking for something like really wide and kind of far-fetched, or like, you know, where you think, but I think we all experience oneness in so many different ways, but we're not always aware of it. You know, on the way to the Singhs camp, I was thinking like, I don't know what to share, like, even though I know I've got a Hukamnama Katha, so it's going to be based on that, but you still want to like, you still try and think in your head, what do you think, like, what can I share with the Sangat in it? So I was like kind of going through different shabads on the way there, like just trying to find a shabad that I can connect to on YouTube, as you used to do, you know, like just like kind of really study your shabad in it. And then I was like, I couldn't find one. I was like, nah, not connecting. And then I was like, you're a papi, man. And it like, you're not connecting to Gurbani. I did all of that for a bit. But then a shabad came and I just connected. And it was Ram Gasaiya Ji ke Jeevana Mohina Bizharu Manjana Tera. And but I found a theme in that shabad on the way there, and that theme was what does it mean to get to a point of an ardas? And that theme, it started off with, it said that meri sangat poch soch din rati, right? So he's saying that my sangat is poch. Poch means like it's just a mess, wretched, like not out of choice because of where they're born into, and the kind of where they are born into, everyone is just not in the marg of bhakti, because they weren't even allowed to listen to the Veds or anything. So oh line chi nahi koi. So for that reason says meri to sangat poch in it. And then this says, but because of that, my sangat being poch, this says soch din rati. They go, I'm lost in this anxious thoughts that I want to connect to Rabb, but look what I'm surrounded with. It's crazy, isn't it? And then this says that mera karam kutilta, nothing lines up in my life for me to be able to even do righteous deeds. My karam, my actions are kutilta, are all just crooked and bent. Yeah, because where I'm born, it doesn't even aid me to do anything righteous. Mera karam kutilta, janam kumbhati, janami mere ho jaga hoya hai ne. But then look at the mind-blowing part. After then the Rahau Pangati of Mohina Bisaro, there's an ardas that comes from that pain. It says Meri har ho bipat. You know when we say in Punjabi like befta, you heard the word, like you must have heard that, innit? Like saying like bahut befta vich fasya aya. He's in a really bad situation, innit? Like oh befta aya, or sometimes you use it in a different context as well, innit? But Guru Sahib Ji says, Bhagat Ravidas Ji says, Meri har ho bipat, take away this trouble and situation I'm stuck in. Har ho means to destroy. Meri har ho bipat. But then what they do next is amazing. They don't just say take something away from me. This says jan kar ho subai. This says e jan nu pyar de naal bhar do. Because I thought about that. I thought, wait there. Sometimes we're stuck in a certain habit or an addiction we can't get rid of. And imagine if we only ask for that habit to get rid of from us. So that's gone, imagine. So like say whatever that might be. But then say if we're not replaced with something, we're still dry as anything, isn't it? Sharab bhi chhad ditti, right? Par you've got nothing left. You're as dry as anything, innit? So Bhagat Ravidas Ji says that Jan karo ho sabai, manu prem de naal bhar do. Then they say that menu prem de naal bhar do. This is main ki karunga? Kehne charna chhad do. Sareer kal jai. Main tade charni chhadunga bhama mera sareer chal jave, innit? Charna chhad do, sareer kal jai. Anyway, I was thinking about that shabd on the way there. But then in between that, I kept thinking about, but a lot of people do want to do the right thing, but just haven't got the strength for it, innit? Because they're stuck in a rut. It's not like people don't want to do good, Anna. And then I thought about that slok of Kabir Ji, Kabir man janat sab baat janat hi ogn kare, kahe ki kushlat haath deep koe pare. Saying that I know what to do. Kabir man janat sab baat. Janat hi, janda hoya, even knowingly, janat hi ogn kare, I still keep making the same stupid mistakes. Haath deep. And then Kabir Ji said, kahe ki kuch raat. How has that served you? Knowing that, what to do. Yeah. And because I was thinking about, people aren't short of knowing nowadays. Yeah, they watch plenty of videos, but it doesn't mean they still are doing. It doesn't mean they're still actually connecting and, doing Naam Jap and connecting or whatever it may be in it, whatever that is connection for someone. But people have got plenty of knowledge though, innit, that they've got to do this, but not necessarily are doing it though. Haath deep koe pare, got the lantern in the hand, but he's still falling in the well. So I was thinking, why does this slok keep reoccurring from this shabad, innit? And it's just that I was like, I don't know, innit? So I thought about that slope for a bit. And at night at the camp, when they all got together and the different Sangat Singhs were sharing their experiences about how they got into Sikhi and what they've been through, one Singh, he got up and he said, my Ustad, when I was getting to Sikhi, he says he just kept saying one thing to me again and again. He goes, he would tell me this story about, he would say, like, you sometimes remind me of, but don't be one of those that knows what to do but holds a lamp in his hand and keeps falling in the well. And I was like, whoa. And that's the very slok that kept coming to my mind. And he told the story without the slok of a man with a lamp in his hand but still kept falling in the well, and that was the Sikya he was given by his Ustad. And that was my little glimpse for me, and it clicked right there. These moments are Gave ko vekhe hadra habur, where I got to experience the presence of Akal Purkh and that oneness. How can it be that slok, I've not thought about it for God knows how long and why, and coming to this energy of oneness in it, speaking of the same thing, going there. It's not just a coincidence. There's Paramatma at play. There's this energy that is, it's that heart panire, and it's closer than hands and feet. That we do get these glimpses. We get ek puri darshan dije, but it's just becoming more aware of it. The more we become aware of it, the more piyas we'll get. The more we'll want that one, because those experiences are mind blowing, isn't it? And I think, the less we do that whole thing, that that whole being negative towards yourself, the more we are open, the more we'll actually capture these moments that was Waheguru. But if we're too busy saying nahi main kitte kadda nahi mainu kitte, I think we'll just keep missing those moments. ਮੈਨੂੰ chiropractor ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਪੈਣੀ after this, twisting my neck.